Hey, Grant Cardone here on my way out from my home here in Miami, and pulled over actually because here it is Monday morning. I don't know, this might be finding you on some other day other than Monday. If you don't know who I am, I have written 7 books and 13 business programs. I've been working with companies for, 25 years now, and entrepreneurs and CEOs on how to grow their businesses. But that's not what I want to talk to you today about. I haven't always been a respected consultant, coach. Businesses, years ago didn't call me and say, hey, come fix my business, or come help me with my business, or come help me grow my business. Nobody knew me. I was actually, what I want to talk to you about today is inconsistencies, and how, look, if you're inconsistent in your life right now, if you're having trouble showing up on Mondays or Tuesdays or Wednesdays or Thursdays or whatever day, right? Or you're having trouble staying consistent, you're having trouble staying with it, or you're going up and down. If you've ever been labeled ADD or ADHD or bipolar, I mean, somebody might think I'm bipolar, ADD or something just because I pulled over today. I was on my way to the office, and I'm like, I had this kind of gnawing sense of, a little light gray depression. And it reminded me, I've experienced this most of my life. I've experienced like a little bit of unsureness. I don't know what you call it exactly. One morning you wake up, you're ready, I'm gonna take on the world. And the next day you're like, I don't know what to do today. What's going to happen today? I was leaving today, and a guy that works with me said, hey, have a great day today. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to try to make something happen. And I was aware at that moment how many times in my life I've woken up like not sure. I think it started happening for me years ago, like probably around 12 or 13. I didn't know what to do every day. What's today gonna bring? Maybe it's after watching so much TV and eating so much sugar. I think our diets definitely have a lot to do with all that. But look, I want to give you something today about how to get out of the funk, the funky hunk dunk. By the time I was 25, this thing went on from 12 to 25. At 25 years old, I was in so much depression every day. I was using drugs, alcohol. I was self-medicating constantly, making bad decisions. I lived in a 275, I just remember how much it was. It was $275 a month, and every other month I couldn't make the payment. I was late. Today, I live in this joint right here. I live up on the 33rd floor of this place. And completely different life today than I had then. 25, I went to a treatment center for 28 days for drug addiction. I was using drugs every day. Hated it. Let me tell you something worse than drugs is how you feel about yourself. I hated myself every time I did a drug. Every time I smoked weed, every time I did any drug, the moment I put the pill in my mouth, the weed to my mouth, something in my nose, I hated myself. I never felt good about using drugs. And so by the time I was 25, I had been using drugs for 10 years, but my problems started before that. My problems didn't start with the drugs. It started with my inability to manage this light grade chronic depression. This, for lack of better words, this idea that I wasn't good enough, this idea that I didn't love myself. My mom quit on me. My mom told me, hey, don't come around here anymore. My twin brother pretty much was done with me. My sisters both knew that I was in trouble and were like, oh my God, we're gonna get a call on him today. The people I worked with, the principal at the high school I went to said I couldn't win dog catcher in my 11th and 12th grade. Told my mom that. My student My PE teacher said I would amount to nothing. I wrecked my car on my driver's ed test. I failed my driver's license test. I was fired from my first 6 jobs. Wouldn't leave the 6th one. Dude, I'm telling you, I was a loser. Loser, okay? I'm telling you, loser. And I didn't have to ask other people. Nobody had to tell me I was a loser. I knew I was a loser. So, look, if you've ever been there, I know there's people watching this right now. Maybe you don't even know who I am. You're like, who's this dude talking about himself, you know? I've come from that, where I was, bankrupt, spiritually, financially, physically. I weighed 134 pounds. That's 40 pounds less than I weigh today. I was broken every way possible. I didn't have any money. I was in debt. But the worst thing, the worst of the worst of the worst was how I felt about myself. I got out of that treatment center, and the counselor told me on the way out of the treatment center, if you read my last book, Be Obsessed or Be Average, it was the first book that I really shared anything about my life. Of all 7 of my books, that one gives you a kind of a look inside my life more than anything. And maybe what I'll do is I'll have my guys give you a chapter of that book free. And it's not what I came here to give you. I do want to give you something, but maybe my guys can put a couple of different links in here for you. So I got out of that treatment center, and the counselor said to me, I think his name was Philip. I don't remember the guy now. I hated his guts then. I still don't think much of him. He said to me, guy was really confused. He was more confused than I was. He said, now that I look back, he said to me, hey, if you leave here and you don't give up, you know, because when you're there, you spill your guts, you tell them everything. And I told him I wanted to be rich and famous and help people and write books and, you know, be known all over the world. And he says, if you don't give all those ideas, I think he called it grandiosity. If you don't give up all these grandiose ideas of changing the world, being rich, being famous, if you don't change all those ideas, dude, you'll never, ever, ever make it. You'll never stay, what do you call it? You'll never stay dry and sober. My problem wasn't with alcohol, it was with drugs. But, you know, when you're drugging, you're alcoholing. And so I left there. I left that place, and I said, dude, I'm going to show this guy. I'm going to get rich. I'm going to get famous. I'm going to change the world. I'm going to be known for somebody doing something. I'm not using any more drugs. I'm going to show this guy, Philip, whatever his name was. I forgot his name. I'm going to show this dude, and I'm going to show everybody else. But most importantly, I'm going to show myself that I can make it. And I'm going to make it big. And when I make it big one day, I'm going to help people. I'm going to pull over on a Monday morning like I'm pulling over right now and tell people how I made it, okay? Now, today, just so you understand the situation, today remember where I was at when I was 25. Today I own 4 businesses. We do about $100 million a year in sales. I have $500 million worth of real estate. I bought and sold $750 million worth of real estate. And written 7 books, 13 business programs. I've traveled all over the world speaking to audiences. We had a 10X growth conference last year with 2,500 people. Guys like Damon John, Kevin Harrington, all the sharks were there. I mean, I have an unbelievable life today. 2 beautiful children, a beautiful wife that I somehow convinced to be with me, and unbelievable customers and clients and friends in my life. I live in Miami. I live in this place called Regalia. It's 33. I live on the 33rd floor. It's 40. I don't think it's 42 floors. Every floor, somebody owns a floor. The whole floor. I mean, it's unbelievable. I got this great car right here. You can see the little RRs on it. That a friend bought me, by the way. Okay. You know what nobody knows about this car? I didn't buy it. A buddy bought it for me. I mean, how good a friend is that? So why am I telling you all that? I'm telling you all that to say, look, I'm still waking up this morning saying, hey, what am I going to do today? Okay? Look, it's not depression. It's not, you don't have a disease. You're not powerless and you're not unmanageable like they told me in that treatment center. They said I was powerless, unmanageable, My life was out of order. I could never have control. That I was just a manic, bipolar, ADD, ADHD. I was manifesting addictions and symptoms of addiction, and it was because of all of my losses in my life and la 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 la. And I'm like, man, dude, look, come on, man. You know, it can't. Like, is that it? I'm just gonna throw my hands up and I'm done. I left that treatment center, and this is what I did to solve my problem. Okay, if you are or ever have been where I am right now, you're kind of a menace to yourself, your family, and society. You know, and I know the feeling of that. It's like, what are you going to do every day? Okay, my depression came from one thing. This is going to blow your mind when you hear this. Okay, this is what my depression came from. No purpose. I didn't have a purpose. I wasn't working my purpose out. Okay, now that seems like kind of esoteric, like, hey, how do I find out my purpose? Okay, here's the trick to the purpose thing. You don't need to know what your purpose is. You need to throw yourself completely into something that you can measure. Throw yourself into something that you can actually affect and move. Anything. Like, throw yourself into something where you can score. Now, when I was 25, I don't know how many different things there are to do this. I just know that sales, as much as I hated sales, I hated meeting people, greeting people, talking to people, handling people's objections, calling on the phone, cold calling. I'm actually an introvert by nature. You know, if I'm not around my buddies or an environment where I know everybody or I'm being paid to speak, it's very difficult for me just to walk up and talk to people. I know that might seem hard to you today or hard for you to believe because I'm sitting here doing this video. It's not easy for me. You know, don't assume that just because somebody can talk or do a video or get on stage that it's easy for them to do that. They might be somebody completely different off stage. They might be a little awkward. It's always been awkward for me. But you know, you speak in front of, you do 2,000 presentations one at a time, and at some point you get used to it. You're like, oh, I'm not going to get eaten. You know, I remember the first time I went surfing in California, and I was paddling out there. I started worrying about the sharks. You know, by the time I had surfed 50 times, I didn't think about them anymore because I had 50 experiences where they didn't eat me. Same thing with speaking to people. Same thing with extroverting, you know, getting outside of yourself, talking to people. Same thing with getting sober. You know, you put one day, second day, third day, fourth day. Next thing you know, you're like, dude, man, I got this, dog. I got this. I ain't gonna use drugs again. So when I was 25, the problem was, what am I gonna throw myself into? What is my purpose? So I had a sales job at the time, hated it, and decided, dude, I hate that Philip dude more than I hate sales. I'm gonna use sales to show Philippe, the counselor dude, whatever his name was. I'm gonna show that guy. I'm gonna show my mom. I'm gonna show my brother. I'm gonna show myself. More importantly, I'm gonna show myself. I'm gonna show everybody. I'm gonna show Mr. Crawford, the principal from high school, that I can be great at something. And I threw myself into that sales job. Now understand, I didn't like sales, okay? I grabbed a program. I just started asking the guys, hey, do you guys have any training? Is there any training, education? I'd been in sales for 2 years and tried it probably 5 times before that. Awful at it. Awful, okay? So I asked some of the guys there, I said, do you have anything? And the guy that owned the place 3 or 4 days later flipped me a cassette tape, and I listened to it over and over again. I don't even remember the name of it anymore, but it was like how to sell something. I was like, wow, there's a way to do this. Now, I'm telling y'all that not to talk to you about sales, even though I want to give you something on sales, but most importantly, I want to give you that be obsessed or be average. Most of you I know are not in sales. You don't like sales. You don't want to learn sales. Who wants to be a salesman anyway, right? But if you do want to link on sales, I'm going to give you something. I'm going to give you something that if you use this, I guarantee you, I don't care if you're terrible at sales, it'll make you good. If you're good, it'll make you great. And if you're great, it'll turn you into a master. And if you don't like sales, listen to it anyway. I'll show you how to get anything you want in life. Okay, it was an award-winning program, and I want to give it to you. Okay, so check it out. It's called Sell or Be Sold, and I'm talking to you about Sell or Be Sold right now because here's the deal. I was sold that I was an addict. I was sold that I was broke. I was sold that I was powerless. I was sold that I was unmanageable, and I bought it. I bought it, and it caused me, even when I finished using drugs, stopped using drugs, it caused me to continue to not do well, and I don't want that to happen to you. Okay? See, when I learned the sales game, this is what I learned. I learned how to sell myself every day on doing things I don't want to do. I learned how to sell myself on doing whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Okay? Whatever it takes. I learned how to do whatever it takes professionally. Okay? To learn how to show everybody whatever it takes. How I can get my money right, my physical condition right, my family right. How can I get what I want in life? How can I actually score? See, the thing is, you need a purpose, okay? And the purpose has to be tied to something you can measure. You understand what I'm saying? You got to be able to measure. If you can't measure, you're going to feel depressed and down, okay? So look, grab the link. Costs you nothing. Just fill out the information. We'll send you the content. Listen to it on your phone. Listen to it on your phone. It's going to show you exactly how to get whatever you want in life. Most of what everybody wants in life is not about money. It's not about money. And let me pull over here. I'm not supposed to be doing this and driving. Come on, man. I got to start acting like a decent member of society, not break the law. So most of us don't care about. Look, you don't care about living in a high rise. Most of you don't even want that. Okay, you don't want a Rolls Royce. You don't want to be a millionaire. Most people don't want that. What most people want is they want to be happy. Okay, you can't be happy without a purpose, and you can't have a purpose that's not measurable. And if you have a purpose and it is measurable, and you can't achieve it, you're not going to be happy. So the point of that is this. If you can't get your way in life, guess what? You're going to be a miserable freaking human being. I know. I'm talking from personal experience. If miserable human being for 20 years was in the dictionary, my face would be right next to it, little about this big, saying this is what a miserable human being looks like. Tremendous potential and not living up to it. If that describes you, okay, don't count yourself out. And please don't label yourself ADD, ADHD, or COPD, or ODD, or whatever the hell they call you. They just call you all that because they don't know what the hell's wrong with you and they don't know what to tell you what to do. I'll tell you what to do. Quit using drugs. Quit drinking alcohol. Watch out who you're hanging around, okay? But most importantly, I'm telling you, more important than all those things, get a job that you can measure. Not a job where you just get a paycheck. Get a job where you can measure and you can actually influence the results of it. Get a job where you can change your income from $5,000 to $6,000. Get a job where you can change your income from $3,000. If you don't have that job, do something in your life that can move you from $3,000 to $4,000, $4,000 to $5,000, $5,000 to $10,000, $10,000 to $20,000. I know money won't make you happy, but I tell you what will. Your ability to move yourself and measure it. Okay, so grab the link below. I hope this helps you. I hope it finds you well, man. I hope you're not as troubled as I was. Okay? I'm not so troubled today. I have high-class problems today. I'm so grateful for where I'm at and what I've done in my life, and I'm grateful for you. And I promised myself when I walked out of that treatment center, I promised myself I am going to help other people, Philip, or whatever your name is. I don't think the dude's name was Philip. I know this. He's the one that said I couldn't make it, and if I did go for it, don't have high expectations, that's going to disappoint you. I said, dude, if I don't have high expectations, I don't want to live. So look, have some high expectations, okay? Grab the link, get the data, tell me what happens, okay? It doesn't cost you anything. I'm gonna give it to you. If it does something for you, man, tell other people about GC, Grant Cardone, okay? I wanna help you. I'm paying it forward now. This was my commitment. I'm going to help other people. Let me help you. I wanna help you. If you're down and out, if you're struggling, if you're having trouble right now, please let me help you, okay? And stay away from these people that tell you not to think big and dream big. Just because they gave up doesn't mean you need to. Be great.